In a big final like this, everyone was waiting for the first goal. But Maresca won before the ball even hit the net. He stole the final within the first 10 minutes using an idea no one expected. And when a coach comes out after the final and says, "We won the game in the first 10 minutes, we have to ask ourselves a question. How did he do that? It's not because they scored early, they hadn't, but because he completely suffocated Paris from the first moment and forced his style of play on them while they were still trying to find their rhythm. Everything that followed was simply a natural result of a genius idea set from the beginning. And that's what we'll dive into today. I'll give you a full tactical breakdown of the match. So without wasting time, let's begin. Enzo Maresca, head coach of Chelsea. After the game, he said they won the match in the first 10 minutes. So how, Maresca? How did you win in 10 minutes when your team hadn't even scored yet? Let me tell you how. When a coach says something like that after winning 3-0, it means he had a tactical plan, one that worked right from the beginning, and the opponent failed to stop it. And from that moment, he knew he would win. The tactical idea he started with against Paris was clear. He pressed high and hard from the first whistle to stop Paris from building out from the back. And it worked. In the 8th minute, he forced Paris to give up their build-up play and just launched the ball into midfield. But wait, how could a team like Paris give up on their build-up play so fast? That's not easy. Maresca must have had a powerful tactical plan. And yes, he did. Chelsea's pressing structure that broke down Paris. It was a sharp, aggressive structure that outplayed Paris. But before we dive into the structure, let's first look at a pressing issue Chelsea had in recent matches. This will help us understand Maresca's changes and ideas. Previously, against Fluminense and other teams, Maresca used a front three to press the defenders with 2 players behind them pressing the midfield pivots. His focus was always to shut down the central areas, but that left the wings wide open. Opposing fullbacks had time and space because Maresca's own fullbacks stayed deep. But most of those opponents didn't have high-quality fullbacks, so they couldn't exploit this weakness. Then Maresca looked at Paris and said, "If I press the same way, I'll leave Nuno Mendes and Hakimi free. That would be suicide. Because those two are top-quality fullbacks who can break pressure and carry their team forward." So Maresca came up with a new pressing idea, a 4-man high press. Joao Pedro, Enzo, all pressing the Paris defenders. James pressing Vitinha, Caicedo pressing Joao Neves, and the back 4 marking the Paris attackers tightly. But what was more important than the structure was the execution. Chelsea's players were fully committed. This wasn't just a man-to-man press. The players came out fully charged, and that intensity made the difference. They won almost every duel. So did Paris just give up? Of course not. Luis Enrique and Paris tried to break the press. Vitinha started dropping very deep to help progress the ball. But he was shocked. James was right there with him every time, pressing him wherever he went. That tells you how effective and disciplined Chelsea's man-to-man pressing was. Eventually, Paris gave up. They started playing long balls and switched to direct play. They aimed to win the ball in midfield and push Chelsea back into a defensive shape. And Chelsea allowed that for short periods, but hit back with dangerous counterattacks. Chelsea's reliance on transitions exposed Paris's biggest weakness. They used Gusto, Neto, and Joao Pedro up front for speed, and used Palmer, Enzo, James, and Caicedo to send quick vertical passes. In the 21st minute, Gusto launched a rapid counterattack that ended with Palmer scoring the opening goal. Pedro Neto's role after Chelsea's first goal. While the players were still celebrating, Maresca called over Neto, gave him new instructions, and we saw what those were just moments later. Chelsea began allowing Paris more possession. Neto's role changed. He started tracking Hakimi everywhere on the pitch. If Hakimi stayed wide on the right, Neto followed him as a left winger. If Hakimi moved into midfield, Neto followed him in. This tactic had already been in use before the goal, but after the goal, Maresca made it Neto's full-time job to mark Hakimi everywhere. Why? To prevent any weak points for Paris to exploit. If Neto didn't track Hakimi, Paris would have had a 5 versus 4 advantage in Chelsea's back line, and that would have created many holes. Maresca wanted to shut off the wings in the middle, to block all of Paris's attacking paths, while still preparing dangerous counterattacks. Luis Enrique's response only made things worse. Enrique tried to overload the wing where Neto was, adding more players there to confuse Neto and make him unsure of who to track. But it backfired. Why? Because when Enrique overloaded that wing, he emptied Paris's midfield. That gave Maresca the perfect opportunity to hit them with fast transitions. And that's exactly what happened. Palmer scored the second goal in the 29th minute with great skill and calmness. Then, right before halftime, they scored the third goal, a goal that perfectly summed everything up. Palmer dropped into midfield to receive the ball, and thanks to the huge space left by Paris, He turned easily, ran forward, and Gusto, João Pedro, and Neto sprinted ahead as passing options. João Pedro made a sharp run, received Palmer's pass, and scored the third. 3 goals in 1/2 against a strong Paris side coached by Enrique. A huge statement. Everyone was now waiting to see what Paris would do in the second half. Would they come back? Paris tried to come out fired up in the second half, looking to make a comeback. They tried to score early, but Maresca handled the first 10 minutes calmly. His team defended well and didn't concede. Then, gradually, he took control of the game. Chelsea could defend or attack at will. Maresca dictated the rhythm. As time went on, Paris started to lose energy and motivation. Maresca and his players slowed the game down even more with controlled possession and smart game management. Cucurella even added some extra drama, faking injuries and provoking the Paris players. And in the 86th minute, he went after João Neves and got under his skin. Neves reacted, pulled him by the hair, and got a straight red card. That was the moment we knew this trophy belonged to Chelsea. The tactical breakdown ends here, but the questions remain. Today's question: do you think Chelsea can go far next season under Maresca? I'd love to hear your answer and thoughts on the episode. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next upload. See you next time.